Alright, so we're gonna go back into the world of pricing.
Oh no.
Yep, pricing your work.
Rafi's tips for artists because he loves you.
Hola, you amazing artists! I got a question from Tamara. I got an order for a 36 by 48 for a painting I did on Letgo app, but the canvas size was 11 by 14, so I charged $175 to do the same painting on 36 by 48. Do you think I sold it cheap, and was that fair?
Oh no!
That's okay. That's okay if you're happy with that price. But I have a sneaking suspicion that you may not be happy with that price. So a lot of people ask me, how do I price my work? So I actually have a video on YouTube that describes how I price my work or how I come up with the prices, but I'll do a quick summary here specifically for you, Tamara. Specifically for you. One of the most confusing things that I've run across for artists, and a lot of the questions that I get, has to do with pricing. So Tamara, I personally, when I look at that, I think that it is low. But then when I first started several years ago, a 3-foot by 4-foot canvas, I probably would have sold for about $300. And that is cheap for me now. I'll give you an example of how I do my pricing on my calculator. What I'm gathering from this is that your original piece was an 11 by 14 and you were charging $175 for that. So let's break that down to the square inch. 154 square inches for an 11 by 14. So 175 divided by 154 comes out to $1.13 a square inch. So if you did $1.13 a square inch on a 36 by 48 times $1.13, your total price range for a 36 by 48 would be $2,471. So at $175, you came a little bit under that price. Now, when you're dealing with a smaller piece of canvas, typically the square inch price is a little bit higher. Contrary to popular belief, when you're working on a smaller canvas and you're doing tiny little brush strokes, it's actually a little bit more difficult than when you're working on a larger canvas. The one thing that I do understand is that when you're a new artist, obviously your prices are going to be a little bit lower because you're trying to gain traction and you're trying to get more collectors to collect your art. Make it a point to raise your prices a little bit more than that. Figure out some kind of pricing structure that will work for you. A lot of my paintings, if they're relatively simple, I charge an average of about 55 cents a square inch. Some of my more complicated pieces, I might charge up to $1 to $1.50 a square inch. And it all depends on what materials I'm using, techniques, how long it's going to take me to work on it. I factor that all into the pricing, but ultimately it has to come down to, how do I feel about the pricing? Do I feel that it's fair for me? And do I feel that it's fair for the person that's buying it? It has to be fair both ways for me to feel good about the transaction. If I feel like I'm getting had, then I'm selling the piece and I don't feel good about it. And if I feel like I'm pulling one over on somebody, then that doesn't feel good. Go with your own pricing. Don't worry about what other artists price their work, because everybody is in different levels. Obviously, I'm not going to charge the prices that somebody like Damien Hirst or Dean Koontz is charging, because their art world version is different than the art world version that I'm in. I definitely will charge more than somebody who's just starting in the art world, because I have much more experience. There's more demand for my work. So just let that grow organically, but always, always, always make sure that you feel good about the price that you're giving somebody and that you feel good about what you're getting paid for the work. And I put a link below to my video on pricing, so if you're curious to know more of what I factor into pricing, just go ahead and click on that and you could watch that. It's a good idea to have pricing figured out.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to tell people that what they're requesting is going to cost extra.
Yeah.
And don't be offended if they're like, I don't want to pay that.
Some people are going to want to pay the prices that you give them. Some people are not going to want to pay the prices. It doesn't mean that you're overcharging or that you're undercharging. You can't base your pricing structure on what you think people are willing to pay. You need to base your pricing structure on what you believe is fair. Truly believe is fair. Not what you believe as, if I was a successful artist, I'd be able to charge $4,000 for this piece. Unless you truly believe that that's what's fair, then you're not going to get those prices for it. Let your pricing structure grow organically as the demand rises for your art and all the different factors that come into play. Good job selling the piece.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations. But yeah, put some thought into your pricing structure so that that doesn't happen in the future.
I sold my first bracelet for $5.
Yep.
And it was a success because I felt really good about it.
Yeah. It was a success. I was just excited that I was selling some art. You're a new artist. You sold a piece of art. Somebody wanted something that you created. So feel good about that. And $175 is not a small chunk of change. So feel good about that. That's it. That's all I got on that. Like I said, just have fun doing it. Think about your pricing structure. You do have to put some thought into that pricing structure. People ask you questions about how much do you think this would cost me? You've got an answer for them.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught looking terrified when somebody asks you a price.
Yeah.
That's uncomfortable
Yeah, that
for
way
an artist.
they're not like, hey, how much would it cost if I got this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, don't do that. Have something in your mind where you can pull out a calculator and be like, well, it may cost approximately this much. You at least give them a ballpark of what the price will be. And if you guys have any questions or comments about pricing your art or just art in general, just go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. And Tamara, thank you so much for your question. You are awesome and you've got this. And thank you so much for watching, you guys. You guys are totally freaking awesome. I completely and totally adore you. And if you like this and you want to watch more like this, just click right over here to subscribe. And that's it. Say goodbye, Clee.
Good day.
Adios.